This past offseason, the Utah Jazz made waves by trading their cornerstones in Donovan Mitchell and Rudy Gobert. And honestly, these moves made sense. The Jazz had been stagnant for years and just got embarrassed by the Mavs in the playoffs despite Luka missing half of the series. So, by trading their stars, the Jazz would have a plethora of picks and have their objectives set for the season. Tank for the generational prospect in Victor Wembanyama. However, the Jazz seem to have other plans, beating two Western Conference contenders to go 2-0 on the season. The Jazz are quite frankly shocking the NBA world right now, and their overperformance is actually a huge blessing despite their interest in Wembanyama. In this video, you'll learn why it's actually great for the Jazz to be competitive, how they have been racking up wins thus far, and how all of this lines up for the 2023 NBA Draft. Before we get into the video, be sure to leave a like, as each like makes a tremendous difference for the channel, and also be sure to sub to the channel for more content like this. Despite losing their coach and overhauling much of their roster, the Utah Jazz sit atop the Western Conference with a 2-0 record. But more impressively, they had the third best offensive rating in the entire league and the 9th best defensive rating. Of course, people quick to point out that we're just 2 games into the regular season, but given that the Jazz were penciled in as a free win on the calendar for pretty much every team, what they've done so far is pretty much mind-blowing. In the season opener, the Jazz would take on the back-to-back MVP Nikola Jokic and the Denver Nuggets in what should have been a cakewalk victory for the Mile High. Other than the regular season returns of MPJ and Murray for the Denver Nuggets, there was no significance for this game. It's a matchup of a strong contender out west who are probably just using this game as a mere practice for their next one against Golden State, and a rebuilding team. But at halftime, the world was shocked to find out that the Jazz led by north of 20 points, actually winning the game by 21 points in a very well-balanced scoring effort. The Jazz made 11 threes and would score 75 points in the first half alone. And for the game, they'd shoot 16 of 38 from 3 and showed a hunger defensively that the team hadn't shown in a very long time. As a result, the Jazz were unexpectedly 1-0 on the season in a game that was considered to be meaningless. However, their next game was anything but. They were going against their former All-Star center in Rudy Gobert and a loaded Timberwolves team that had hopes to contend in the West. And it goes without saying that many of the old Timberwolves on the team and even others wanted to show out for this game, which they did. Despite being down by as many as 17 points and trailing by double digits for most of the first half, the Jazz mustered a ferocious comeback win. They made 23 pointers on a combination of kickouts, operating off the dribble, firing away in transition, and utilizing the pick and roll and ball movement to make the T-Wolves pay on late rotations. Their bigs were filling in lanes appropriately in transition and cutting to the basket for the easiest of opportunities, and there seems to be a synergy amongst this team. Individually, the Jazz are filled with many players who are deemed to be overlooked or felt to be just throw-ins in the Mitchell and Gobert trades, 3 of whom are former Cavaliers. Colin Sexton is a player who has become overlooked due to the emergence of Darius Garland and due to the injury that kept him out for much of last season. However, he's consistently improved since his rookie year and already was a dynamic scorer by just his second season in the league, having averaged 24 points per game in 2021 and 20 points per game for his career. He's a high motor individual who's a crafty ball handler and finisher, has a nice floater game, is always a threat from 3 in either catch and shoot situations or operating off the dribble. He's also a fearless finisher and doesn't get enough credit for how he's improved as a playmaker. Another former Cav on this Jazz team is Lauri Markkanen, a player with mixed perception across the league but has already made his impact felt on this Jazz team, averaging 21-9 through 2 games for this team. He's pretty much demonstrated his ability as an effective playmaker, as a big. He's still very much an effective three-point shooter, despite what his three-point percentage for this season might suggest. And he's also pretty much effective inside the paint, being pretty fearless at attacking Rudy Gobert. Lastly, we have Jordan Clarkson, the 6th man of the year for 2021 that hasn't missed a beat. Clarkson's actually averaging 26-5 this season on 50-50-83 shooting splits and has been a solid complement to Mike Conley in the backcourt. Though 35 years of age, Mike Conley still has been effective for the Utah Jazz, as he's averaging 13 points and 10 assists on 39% shooting from 3. On top of all of this, Kelly Olynyk is dishing in 15 points a night and has shot 78% from 3 on 4 attempts a game. Jared Vanderbilt is averaging 15 boards a game. Blake Beasley is chipping in 15 points a game. Rudy Gay is still impactful at 36 years of age. And Walker Kessler has looked very impressive as a rookie. With all these things working out for the Jazz, you're probably wondering how the Jazz overachieving is actually a good thing. Because the more they win, the more they distance themselves from nabbing Victor Wembanyama. Wemby might be the most unique NBA prospect we've ever seen, as a 7'4" guy with an 8-foot wingspan that can handle the ball, shoot the lights out, and defend is something that you can't miss on. However, Danny Ainge knows exactly what he's doing. If the Jazz manage to hold up what they've been doing so far, then they'll have a ton of flexibility moving forward. They can simply remain good and compete this season since they have 14 first-round picks through 2029, picks that they can use to outright select players or package in a deal to trade up in the draft or trade for a disgruntled young star. However, the Jazz have another option to keep themselves in the Wemby hunt, and that option is simply to sell high on their overachieving players this season. That will net them even more first-round picks for the future, while consequently making them bad enough to get high lottery odds. Regardless of which direction the Utah Jazz decide to go in, this team's illuminating story about overachieving against the odds is something we need to talk about. And who knows, if the Jazz keep this up past these 2 games, then the rest of the NBA has to take note. With that being said, let me know how you feel about the Utah Jazz and their stunning start to the NBA season in the comment section down below. What has surprised you most about the Utah Jazz thus far? And also let me know whether you think the Jazz are actually legit. Can they keep this up for a large portion of the season? Should they trade their notable pieces so they can tank more effectively for Wembanyama? Let me know in the comment section down below. Be sure to leave a like on the video, as each like makes a tremendous difference for the channel, and also be sure to sub for more content like this. Hope to see you all in the next one, and stay tuned.